Welcome back everybody, and in the last tutorial we installed VirtualBox and we set up all of the settings for our virtual machine. So right now, if you have done all of the things in the previous video and you have double checked these settings right here, we are good to go right now. So just click here on the start machine, make sure you set the right machine. So ethical hacking machine is how I named it. Start, and it will start the process of installation of our keh1 Linux. Right now, you might be wondering if this machine will be a little bit slow. Well, basically it depends of your entire PC. If you have a good PC, the virtual machine shouldn't have problem to run. So, as we can see right here, it basically gave us the boot menu of keh1 Linux. And there are a bunch of these options which are basically just live version of the keh1 Linux. We do not want to boot into the live version since there is no point to do that. Basically the two options that we are interested in are install or graphical install. Now you can pick any of these two you like. I usually go with the install, but graphical install is also the same as the install, just a little bit more prettier. I got used to the install, so I'll just click on here. You can go to the graphical if you want to. I'll just click on the install and we can see, just a second, it takes some time. Now click here on X so this doesn't bother us. Here the first thing that pops up is the language selection. Here you can select any language you pretty much like depending on wherever you are from. For the purpose of this tutorial I will be selecting English, so just found English and I will click enter right here. Now you might notice that your cursor does not work on the virtual machine for now, because we are in the process of installation of the operating system, so you need to navigate all of these settings with your keyboard, most likely with your arrows. And right now it asks us to select our location. I am from Europe, but I will just select here United States because it doesn't really matter. We can change it later if we want to. For now, I'll just leave it on United States. This is the keyboard configuration window. It basically asks you what kind of keyboard you want. Now, I didn't even know there are this much configuration for keyboards. I always pick here American English, so I'll do the same right now. You can take any of these if you'd like to. I just don't know what kind of keyboard configuration theirs are, but if you know, you can pick here Belgian or any other, Arabic, Albanian, doesn't really matter, so I'll just pick here American English. And right here it is loading some additional components, as it says right here. Basically this process of installation will take some time. Once it starts installing all of the files it needs, it will pretty much take around 30 to 40 minutes for it to finish, and in the meantime it will ask some of the questions, which I will cover of course, but it actually depends for different virtual machines on how much the process will take. So here it says configuring the network. What it asks here is for the host name of your machine, which you can name anything you like. I will just name it Kelly, and I'll just leave it on Kelly since it was already there before I typed it. You can name it basically whatever you want. I'll just click on continue, and in the configuring the domain name I'll just leave it blank because I don't really need it. As you can see right here, it says the domain name is the part of your internet address to the right of your host name. It is often something that ends in .com, .net, .edu or .org. Now if you need it, you can put it right here, but I don't need it right now, so I'll just click on continue. And here it will ask us for our root password. Now you might be asking, if you're a beginner, what is root? Well, root is like an administrator for on the Windows machine, just basically with a lot more privilege. With root account you can basically do whatever you want on the machine, and there are no limits. If you would like to delete all the files from the machine, crash the entire computer, you can do that with a simple command in root user. So Now in the keh Linux we'll be almost always using the root user, since as I said it has most of the privileges and it can do things some other users can't. So you're just setting password for a root user, and that password can be anything you like. Here I will just type in test1234. You can check into show password in clear if you like to, but just click on the continue right here when it will ask me to reconfirm the password. So I'll just type here again test1234, and I will go on the continue. This is the clock configuration. Select your time zone as it says right here. You can select any time zone you want. I'll just go with the Eastern. And right now I believe it should start the process of installation. Oh yes, I forgot about this. For this, the partitioning disk. Now this is the part where I talked about before in the settings area, where it asks if you want to encrypt your hard disk or not. Right now, since this is a beginner section, we do not want an encrypted hard disk, but later on I will show you how to install the version with the entire hard disk encrypted. So just go here on guided use entire disk, click enter and select this to partition and click enter right here. Here it says 32 gigabytes. Since last video we selected our hard disk to be 32 gigabytes large. So just click on enter. And basically here it asks if you want to separate the home/home/var/tmp partitions, but for the new users it is recommended to not do that. So basically we'll just go with all files in one partition. So select that section, select that option and click enter. And here it just basically re-asks us if we want to undo some of the previous configurations. We do not want. We want to click on finish partitioning and write changes to the disk. And here it will ask us write the changes to the disk, yes or no. We click here yes. Right now it started the process of installing the system. This will take around 30 to 40 minutes. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on your computer. So I'll see you when this finishes. Alright, so my process of installation has finished. It took around, I believe, 15 minutes, so it shouldn't take much more for you. And here we have the first question that popped up, which is, do we want to use a network mirror? Here it says a network mirror can be used to supplement the software that is included on the CD-ROM. This may also make newer versions of software available. So here you want to click on yes and proceed to the next question, which it will ask you for the HTTP proxy information. We will just leave it blank for none. We do not care about that at the moment, so just go on continue. And right now it will basically just configure the APT, and I believe the next question will be something about the grub bootloader or master bootloader, which is basically if it asks us if we have another operating system running on this machine. If we don't, we want to install the master bootloader, and if we do have, well, basically if you do have, which I honestly doubt since we are installing a virtual machine and this is the only operating system on it, you want to be careful if you are booting this onto your main PC, since it might mess up with your Windows 10 if you are dual booting it with keh Linux, so you want to be careful. But if you are running this as an only operating system, whether it is in the virtual machine or just as a main operating system on your host machine, you want to install grub. So I believe the question will pop up in a few seconds, so we'll just wait for it a little bit. Here it is installing grub loader, and I believe in a few seconds, or possibly a minute or two, it will prompt us with the question, the last question I believe. After that it should finish the process of installation and it should boot us into our keh Linux login screen. So we'll just wait on this, and here it is. So basically it says here install the grub bootloader on a hard disk, and we will read this so you understand it a little bit better. It seems that this new installation is the only operating system on this computer, so it should be safe to install the grub bootloader to the master boot record of your first hard drive. So it just says if this is the only operating system, you should be installing the grub bootloader to the master boot record, but be aware if it is not, if you are dual booting it with another system, it might cause some trouble. But since we are not, we will just click on here, yes, we want to install. And here it will ask if we want to enter the device manually. We do not want, so just go down here on /dev/sda and click enter. Right now it should finish the installation, and in a few seconds we should be booting up into our keh Linux machine. I just noticed that there was another question that popped up, but this is more directed to those who install it on the host machine, who install the keh Linux on the host machine, because they would probably be installing it from the USB drive. And it basically just says here if the installation is complete and that you can remove the USB drive so you just don't reboot into the installation process again. Since we are on virtual machine and we didn't boot in from the USB drive, we will just click on continue without taking any action. So just click here continue. If you did, however, boot into from the USB drive on your host machine, you want to remove the USB drive and then click on the continue button. So here it is, finishing the installation is on 60%. So after a few minutes our installation has finished and now we are booting in. So while this process is taking, just don't click on anything. Now my installation has finished and now we're booting into our keh Linux machine. For the first time it might take you a few minutes to boot in. It surely will take for me at least like 5 minutes. Just to load up the desktop, but don't worry, we will, after the installation is finished, we will install some of the programs we need in order to run this, for example, as a full screen, because if you can notice, if I spread this window, the machine itself won't go full screen. It will just stay this big and basically will have this white space around it. We will fix that in the next tutorial. For now on, let's just log in. So you might not know this, but it will prompt you with a username first, and it will prompt you for a username for your root account. And on all the Linux distributions, the username for root account is ROOT. So basically it's just root. So just type in root, it will be the same for you, and click on the next, and it will ask you for your password. Now, whatever your password was, and whatever your password is that you typed in the process of installation, just type it again right here. For me it is test234, and just click on the sign in, and it should open up our desktop. Now this might take a few seconds or minutes because it is the first time, so we'll just wait a few seconds. And here it is, it opened up my desktop. Now, as I said, we will be installing the full screen mode for the keh Linux in the next tutorial. For now on, you can, if you want to experiment with a little bit of this, we will be covering all of these programs right here, and we will be covering all of these commands in the terminal. But more about that later, and in the next section, as I said, we're going to install the full screen, and I hope I see you there. Peace.